the defense kind of ahead of the offense at this point of the spring?
I think it's normal. We're 2 days in with pads, so I think a lot of times early advantage goes to defense in those situations, just because we're attack and they're kind of react early on. Today we did a healthy third down day, and 3rd and 7+. That's going to tip to the defense as well. So putting the offense in hard positions. Now, wasn't happy with the turnovers. So, there's ways to win that drill, get into a punt rather than compromising the security of the ball. But, I think anytime you're talking about an offensive line unit that's growing new players and new quarterbacks and doing some different things offensively, we need to give it some time to grow. I think right now, defense had a couple good days back to back. This is a marathon, not a sprint. So we may be a little ahead right now on defense. I expect the offense to catch up, and I think they'll do that really quickly.
At least in terms of highlights, felt like the safety play, maybe some of the corner play really stood out today. How did you see that?
I'm pleased. Again, I got to be careful because this was practice 4, but I'm pleased with how we developed in those spots. I think, too, considering the fact that we still got some guys out with injury that'll help us back there athletically. I think our corners are playing stickier coverage. I think we're getting to the catch point more effectively. I think we're making plays on the ball. I think the safety position seems to be finding its way to the point of attack really well, and down on the ball when it breaks out or getting in good positions to do that. We haven't been live yet. And then finishing on the ball when it's compromised. So far, I think we've seen growth in those areas. Again, we got a long way to go, but I think if we keep building, we're going to be happy where we are at the end of the spring.
So far, over this last week of practice, what would be your overall evaluation of the quarterback room and what they've each shown in progression just got here?
I think we're early in. I mean, it's hard because it's all been controlled, and it will be controlled up until the point where we scrimmage and really get them into a rhythm. I think Blaze has had some good days. I think today, he had some turnovers, and again, we gotta learn from that. We got to move on from it. For all these guys, I mean, Jack's done some good things. I mean, I think Jack's been pretty consistent. I think he's got to keep working on the throwing mechanics and making sure the ball's put in a good position to be caught. I think Muschamp has shown some flashes, and I think Jared Curtis has shown some flashes. I think his arm talent stands out. He makes some really challenging throws, but it's just we have to learn about consistency. We have to learn about kind of the down in, down out stuff. We have to continue to feel that pocket collapse and see where the decisions are made then, and that takes time. So I think TK is doing a great job coaching those guys. Obviously, Coach Beck as well, and I'm excited to watch them continue to progress. But we're going to take our time, because I don't feel like we need to be in a hurry. I think the less we feel like we got to come out of every day evaluating who the starter is going to be, I think we're not seeing the room for improvement and playing the long game. This group needs to play the long game right now. That has been clear over the first 4 days.
Can you take us through the eval on Cole Adams and kind of how you got him and what you see from him?
We liked Cole off high school film, obviously an Oklahoma guy. So we tend to have with Coach Beck and Coach Gill some connections back that way. We played against Cole. Obviously we've been impressed in those situations, and when he came on campus and met with us, I mean, I was blown away with his engagement, his personality, and just the feeling that he was a fit for us. So he's brought confidence. He's brought that snap experience. He's also a misfit. He's a chip on the shoulder guy, which I appreciate and fits in with our environment. And we're happy to have him.
You're missing a lot of your defensive line guys. I don't think we've seen Issa or Capers yet. And I don't think I've seen Brian Allen out there. Maybe I'm wrong.
You're wrong on him. But okay. Issa, Capers, AB is battling a bump and bruise right now. But, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Are you going to have any of those guys back at some point for the spring?
Issa actually got some work today. And so he's, I think, in the next week, we'll start to see him in some competitive reps. Cape, maybe at the end of spring, but that'll be non-contact. I mean, for us, it's just about protecting that shoulder for him. Again, that was surgical, so we knew that was coming. AB should be back. I would imagine if his knee responds well in the next week or so. So it'll be good to get Issa back out there. Obviously, to get Cape on the edge. CJ Jackson's been out. He was able to participate and compete some today. So we're getting healthy, and we like where that room's headed.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about CJ. He did get some reps today when he had the full. What did you see out of him initially?
Yeah, are you talking about in the eval, or are you talking about today?
Either one. What
Yeah.
was helpful?
Yeah, we liked him a lot in the process to get him here. And again, another guy when he visited, it felt like he was the right mentality for us, right attitude for us. Been really impressed with how he's approached his work this winter. I think he feels like he has belonging here. And again, we have a high demand environment where our guys invest a lot outside of just the normal time, and that's who CJ is. I didn't get to watch him close enough today to see where I would expect there's some good and some work to be done, just because he's coming back from a knee cleanup. So, but I love his attitude, I love his mentality, I love his physical presence, and I expect him to help us win in the fall.
Coach, I asked Coach Gregory last week about Ricardo Jones and what you've seen from him so far since being here in spring practice and what he brings to your defensive backfield.
Yeah, he's got edge to him. He's got spirit. He loves football. He has a knack for finding the ball. I see him cleaning his game up in 4 practices. I mean, this is a guy who really has an interest in being a good player. Loves to study, is real coachable and approachable that way. And I think he can be, with CJ, those guys as kind of veteran, experienced players, they can be leaders for us on defense. And obviously, we have a bunch of talented people that are competing back there, and so he's got to earn it just like everybody's got to earn it. But just his mentality, his attitude, the approach to work, I think we can build around that. I've been excited for that.
With a lot of the new guys on the offensive line, just what struck you about that group and what you have there?
I think we feel like we have a chance to continue to improve up front. I mean, I thought we made a big jump from 23 to 24, obviously, then from 24 to 25, and I think we can do the same. There's a lot of work ahead. I have a ton of trust in Coach Klinakis and Coach Nady to get that group prepared. We are as physically gifted as we've been up front. We're big and fast and strong, athletic. And so we just, it's about taking rep. Again, you go third down day and there's a lot. I thought those guys handled that really well. Wasn't a lot of exotic looks, but I mean, they created a pocket. I thought our ball decisions were poor in that period, but I think they're coming along. I think they're gelling, and I've liked what I've seen so far.
Well, the last 2 questions.
Mark, I just wanted to ask you about one of your coaches, Jackson Lampley. Obviously, great football pedigree. Kind of seems to fit the kind of staff that you want to put together. An NBA guy. What appeals to you about a young guy like him and bringing him in on your staff?
I love the youthful spirit and energy. He's smart, and I first met Jackson when I was it was maybe last year at the convention. He was with Coach K, and anyone hanging out with Coach K, anyone who Coach K is putting his stamp on is going to be good by me. I had to get over the Tennessee part of it, but that is what it is.
There's an NBA part too.
We're connected in some ways. But I'll tell you this about Jackson. I've been blown away with his work endurance. I mean, Coach K is a grinder. They're watching film all the time. This guy, his first few days here, he may not have left the office, and I admire that. I respect it. In a lot of ways, I see myself in him when I was a young coach coming on and just really wanted to be good. And that's what I see his approach being. And we're lucky to have him. And I know Coach K is enjoying working with him. And again, every single one of these coaching roles are mission critical. And, for guys to attack their roles like Jackson attacks his role is going to put us in position to do the things that we want to do long term.
I think this is the biggest roster Vanderbilt football's probably ever had for spring with all the early enrollees. How helpful is that? Maybe where's that brought challenges where you're used to being able to work with a smaller number of kids in the spring?
you're trying to rep more people, so inevitably, your snap count per player is going to go down. That can be good and that can be challenging. The challenge is that you want to see these guys, especially early on. I think there's a tendency to push. So I think in some ways it's healthy for us to have to split those reps up and keep it all kind of under control as they acclimate to playing football again. Obviously, we have a few surgical guys, and as you take on bumps and bruises, the depth allows you to just keep on going with practice without hesitating. I think particularly in the offensive line, I think maybe in 24 spring, at one point we had like 8 healthy offensive linemen we were trying to scrimmage. That's really challenging. So I think we have a healthy roster. I love the size of it. I think each guy brings talent, maybe developmental, maybe the top end of the depth chart talent, but I think we look like a team that belongs in our league, and we got to refine as we go through the spring, but the depth will help us stay healthy, and ultimately as coaches it's our job as we get towards the end of spring that we're pinpointing the reps that guys need to show what they need to show for us to determine whether or not they're going to have a role in the fall.